Good morning, DGiT fam. Adam Dowd here, finishing off another week of tech of the awesome variety. And strap in, folks, this is going to be a long one, and a significant one, as we have reached our 200th episode. And to celebrate, we have not one, not two, not three, but four top stories to get to today. Though I confess one of them is purely selfish, which is why we're going to do it first. So let's get to it. It is July 26, 2019, and this is your DGiT Daily. As I mentioned on yesterday's slightly noisy podcast, I was working downtown in the middle of Chicago using Sprint's 5G network on HTC's 5G hub. This is a device that is not a girl, but not yet a woman, and holy crap, that's a vague Britney Spears reference. If you took a Google Home hub, gave it a battery, and a full Android operating system, and a 5G hotspot besides, you'd have the HTC 5G hub. This device costs $600, and it's available through Sprint. It can connect up to 20 devices to share all the 5Gs, plus, like I mentioned, it has Android 9.0 itself, so you can install Netflix, or Amazon, or YouTube, and more, and just watch or consume directly on the device. You can even check your email. This is basically a wedge-shaped phone that you can't make calls on. During my day downtown, I burned through about 5 gigabytes of data, which is a little scary, but overall, it's a neat device, and on a 5G network, I didn't notice a single difference from being on my home Wi-Fi. I love the device, but it's honestly too expensive. And if you want a full review of this puppy, let us know at hello@digit.com. But for now, let's get to the news. Google's parent company Alphabet released its Q2 2019 earnings yesterday, and CEO Sundar Pichai reported that Google Pixel sales, quote, grew more than 2 times year over year, and people are pointing to the Pixel 3a and the Pixel 3 November rain as the reasons why. But that seems a little weird. Maybe I'm just mathing wrong, but if you're selling 2 phones in 1 year, and then 4 phones the next year, and your phone sales increase by 2 times, doesn't that mean you're selling the same number of each phone, but you just have more phones to sell? What that tells me is that the Pixel 3a and the Pixel 3 Don't Cry aren't really driving sales, and that as many people want the expensive phone as the cheap one. I don't know, maybe I'm just not thinking clearly on this. I don't speak business. But either way, Google's making money and selling more phones, so I'll be happy for them, even if it's in a smile and nod kind of way. Meanwhile, on the Galaxy Fold front, T-Mobile announced that it will not sell the Samsung Galaxy Fold when the fixed version comes out in September. T-Mobile went on to say, actually nothing about why it wouldn't sell the phone. Double huh. But I mean, it's not hard to guess why. We discussed this on the Android Authority podcast that we'll be publishing later today, link in the show notes, and we came up with 2 potential reasons. 1, support. When you buy the phone from T-Mobile and it breaks, you don't go to Samsung to fix it, you go to T-Mobile, and that's a headache that T-Mobile just doesn't want. And second, and honestly I think this one's probably more likely, carriers don't sell phones on consignment. They have to buy units from the OEM, store them, ship them to stores, and let associates then resell them. And frankly, it wouldn't surprise me if T-Mobile just thinks that the reception of the Galaxy Fold has cooled to a point where they'll be hard to sell and they'll frankly end up being a money pit. Now, if Samsung were smart, with the Note on the horizon, it might approach various carriers and say, if you want the Note, buy the Fold. And that would be a fascinating standoff to watch. But again, we move on. To our last segment, our weekly DGiT Intelligence. This time we have Joe Hindy, resident app guy from Android Authority, to tell us all about the new top productivity apps of 2019. Take it away, Joe!
Hey everybody, Joe Hindy, the Android Authority app guy here. You're likely well versed on the productivity apps you like, and you've probably been using the same ones for quite some time. However, developers are coming up with all kinds of awesome stuff all the time, and it may be time for something new. So here are some of the best new productivity apps so far in 2019. We'll start with one of my personal favorites, and that is Firefox Screenshot Go. This application organizes every screenshot you take for future reference, but in more ways than one. The application uses OCR to read the text, and then it makes that text searchable. Of course, if there's no text in the image, then there's nothing to search. In any case, if you take a lot of screenshots and you want them organized at least a little bit, this is the one to go with. The second one has kind of a funny name. It's Mixplorer Silver. I think it's Mixplorer Silver. Anyway, this is a file browser app that can do basically everything. It includes archives, copy pasting, and it even has root access if your phone is rooted. You can use it to view PDF files or listen to audio and video files as well if you need to. It has support for so many different file types that I've honestly never heard of like half of them. It's a bit pricey, but you shouldn't ever need another file browser. Last up, let's talk about Spark Email. It came out shortly after Inbox by Gmail went down and was heralded as a good replacement for a little while. The application features email prioritization, support for most email clients, and it adds a bunch of niceties like snoozing emails, reminders, and you can pin important emails to the top of your inbox for future reference, a feature I use frequently. It's completely free and a lovely new email app for 2019.
Firefox Screenshot Go is getting downloaded as we speak. That's pretty awesome. But you know what else is awesome? The Roundup! Speaking of the Galaxy Fold, the Huawei Mate X was spotted, you can't see it, but I'm making air quotes, in the hands of Huawei's CEO in an airport. The as-yet unreleased phone was caught totally unaware by a definitely not hired photographer in the hands of the absolutely not secretive CEO who stopped just short of a memorized speech and Vanna White when showing off the phone for the lucky and definitely not hired by Huawei photographer who posted the pics hours after Samsung announced the return of Galaxy Fold. And for the record, yes, there is snark here, but it's more of a yeah, we get it Huawei kind of way, and not, you're a totally evil Huawei kind of way. Just want to make sure we frame that correctly. When AT&T increased its DirecTV prices, people left. This is the shocking news that AT&T delivered on its earnings call. And as it turns out, people don't like to pay more money for things that they used to get for less money. And if there's one lesson that we can take away from this podcast, it's that AT&T is an idiot. The Fortnite World Cup takes place tonight, where players battle it out for a piece of Fortnite's prize pool. The significant takeaways here are A, my son won't be in it, and B, it could create some of the world's youngest millionaires, and that's just wonderful. And finally, SpaceX launched a delivery mission to the ISS yesterday, and among the contents of that cargo were a biological 3D printer, which we've talked about on earlier episodes of this show. The printer will attempt to create a capillary structure, which are difficult to create in Earth's gravity. Maybe they'll also make a spleen, just to try and figure out just what the hell a spleen does. I'm making that second part up, but only because I've never said spleen on the show before, and it's a funny word. Spleen. Also, Nickelodeon Slime makes its way to the space station to give kids a lesson in fluid dynamics and microgravity. Something tells me, though, that the slime will be less funny in space. So that is going to do it for today's DGiT Daily. If you'd like to learn more about any of these stories, check out the links in the show notes and subscribe to our daily newsletter on DGiT.com. And if you like what you heard, subscribe, leave a review, and don't forget to tell your friends about DigitDailyPod.com. Once again, I'm Adam Dowd, Dead Technology on Twitter, and we'll talk again tomorrow.